all started with a simple gift. My wife surprises me with a racing wheel and Gran Turismo 7, and I already had a PSVR 2 headset, so suddenly the living room is transformed into a racetrack. I went from a couch gamer to a VR racer, and the spark was lit. Racing made sense to me finally. The VR immersion made steering feel like super real, and it was so addictive. I was hooked. I was playing it all throughout Christmas break, and I even started watching Formula One races. I had never had an interest in it before ever. I started getting invested in storylines and everything. Eventually I realized that this gateway into racing, I wasn't alone in. Several pro F1 drivers have credited video games for inspiring their careers. Haas driver Esteban Ocon said the first car he ever drove was in Gran Turismo, and that gave him the love for racing. I mean, you can watch Max Verstappen stream iRacing pretty much every week. I subscribe to F1 TV and have watched this entire season. It's been absolutely fascinating, and today was a race unlike any I've ever watched. Silverstone. After this race, I dove into Gran Turismo because I was so hyped, and I raced against Sophy, the game's cutting-edge AI update. It's like designed to be a lot harder than regular AI, and it crushes us noobs that really suck at the game. Me. It's described as like a superhuman AI race agent. It's mastered the game, and it earned a spot on the cover of some magazine apparently for being a breakthrough in AI. Either way, going toe-to-toe with Sophy is like extremely humbling. It was no different today whenever I booted up a virtual race with Nico Hülkenberg, a seasoned F1 veteran everybody knows and loves and who we'll be talking about today, and Sonny Hayes, a fictional driver from the new F1 movie played by Brad Pitt. Race after race, I kept botching corner entries, I misjudged my braking, I spun out and pirouetted countless times. It got really frustrating, actually. I hadn't played GT7 in a minute, and learning how to master the Super Formula car in it was just to grab cool footage for this video. But even then, it was hard. It was punishing. I couldn't keep up. My palms got sweaty. I was getting hot. I realized how easy it is to spin off into the gravel or overshoot a corner when you haven't set a real tire down. I'd forget to brake sometimes. Every mistake just made me endlessly crazy. I had to get out of the headset time and time again. But each crash made me kind of learn a little bit more and a little bit more, and by the end of the session, I was having fun. I finally finished a race. It was only 3 laps. Nico still took the win against me, but it felt good to just at least be able to finish a race. It was insanely tough. Those VR races just make me respect the real thing even more. If being behind a game wheel is like this much, imagine what the drivers face in actual F1 cars at like 200 miles an hour. It was a wake-up call that perseverance in racing is the entire key. Now, the story of perseverance is nothing new in anything, be it sports, gaming, or cinema. In F1 the movie, the racing film produced by Apple starring Brad Pitt, as I said before, as Sonny Hayes, he's a retired driver pulled out of obscurity for one last shot at glory. He's paired with a young hotshot played by Damson Idris as Joshua Pierce. They're part of this fictional team called Apex GP. The setup is like classic. Old dog, new tricks, young talent, aging legend, and a grid full of faster, better funded rivals. Everything about the F1 movie is engineered to feel real. And in a way, it kind of is. The film was shot at like real F1 events over 2 seasons using custom-built F2 cars dressed up as fictional Apex GPs, and Pitt was literally in the paddock at Silverstone and Spa, suiting up and driving during race weekends. Sonny Hayes was no joke as a character either. He's scarred, stubborn, and driven by ghosts of missed opportunities. It's just your standard, Hollywood redemption arc. Washed up legend climbs back behind the wheel, finds the fire again, fights the odds while saying, odd quips here and there. Maybe he wins, maybe he doesn't. Either way, we're meant to feel something when he takes the grid again, because comeback stories sell. Rocky, Creed, Ford v Ferrari, another racing movie. We love watching someone who's past their prime punch fate in the face. But here is the twist of today. While Sonny Hayes is fictional, Nico Hülkenberg is very, very real. And unlike Hayes, he didn't get a comeback moment handed to him by a screenwriter. He had to live it. All of it. Over 239 races. Imagine that. I got so frustrated in a half day just trying to learn this car. This guy, no orchestral score, no third act montage, just sheer willpower, professionalism, and a maddening streak of bad luck. That's what makes the Nico story so powerful, because when you stack it next to Hayes' arc, you realize how rare it is when real life gives you a story with that kind of payoff. But every F1, old and new, fan felt it today. We were all cheering for Nico. Hayes, in the movie, gets a second chance because the movie demands it. Nico earned his chance at a podium finish. The longer he waited, the more legendary that podium became. His story is kind of unbelievable, and if you don't follow F1 or you're not a racing fan, you should follow along with this one. He literally went through 239 F1 races, 5,593 days. He waited to finally stand on an F1 podium. Until that race, Hulkenberg held the unenviable record for the most career starts without a top 3 finish. Imagine racing around the world for nearly 8 years and never quite making it to the podium. In that long journey, Nico drove for Williams, Force India, Sauber, Renault, Haas, and back to Sauber. He snagged 1 pole position, Brazil 2010, and recorded a couple of fastest laps. But the podium always slipped away. When it finally came at Silverstone, the emotion was raw. He couldn't hide his shock on the radio. "I don't think we can comprehend what he's just done. Oh my God!" He gets out the car. Max Verstappen's coming up, congratulating him, patting on the helmet, and he says, "It's been a long time coming, but I always knew we have it in us. I have it in me somewhere." And think about that. After 239 tries of coming up short, he still believed in himself. That's incredibly inspiring. If you don't know, Nico's nearly had that podium years before. In the 2023 Australian GP, he was running third late in the race, about to take his podium, when a post-race timing rule bumped him back to 7th place. Most drivers would have been crushed, and I'm sure he was in the moment. But he kept pushing. He shrugged it off, and he knew his day would come. And he proved it. This podium also rewrote history for his team. It was Sauber's first podium since 2012, 13 years ago, ending a 13-year-old drought. A small underdog team is back in the spotlight thanks to his persistence and perseverance. The crowd roared, and his rookie teammate, just like the movie, hopped on the radio calling Nico a legend, congratulating him right after Nico celebrated Gabriele Bortoletto's first points just a few weeks prior. Now, both Sonny Hayes' cinematic tale and the true real-life sports tale of Nico Hülkenberg, they celebrate the same spirit. It's about never giving up. Sonny Hayes finally slides into victory lane, and Nico Hülkenberg finally climbed onto the podium. Whether on the big screen or in real life, the message is always clear. Keep going, even when it seems impossible. For me, watching F1 this season, it's been incredibly cool, but also surprisingly motivational. If a pro like Hulkenberg can race 238 times without a trophy and still keep his chin up, then my half day of crashes in GT7s just seems like a warm-up lap. It made me think about my own goals too in life. Whether it's mastering a silly VR game or leveling up this channel or, anything else. I don't know. I think it's fascinating, and F1 drivers, you can root for a team, but really you're just rooting for all these drivers, and especially the underdogs that just really deserve something good, after all these years. I feel like I've learned a few lessons just from watching it, and from the race today, it exhilarated me. I had to get behind the wheel and race against the Kicksauber car and Sonny Hayes' car. I think it's kind of amazing to see someone who has strived for greatness, maybe not quite gotten there when he thought he should have, but he always celebrated the journey and he kept pushing on and he finally touched that greatness. Uh, I think that's a tale of perseverance we're sharing, and I think we should all strive to uh, be more like him. You know, every small improvement, he's on Instagram celebrating it, and there's a photo of progress, and it seems like Hulkenberg has learned to really enjoy the ride. Um, and I think I need that lesson sometimes because racing, like life, is unpredictable. Sometimes it rains, sometimes a safety car slows you down, sometimes a virtual rocket flies by. But every lap can be meaningful if you learn from it and enjoy the thrill. So, I don't know. It's inspiring to me. It's fascinating to me. Here I am, just a gaming and movie nerd turned huge F1 fan. I mean, I'm celebrating a true underdog. It was really cool to see this live and watching Hulkenberg's journey, showing persistence that pays off in ways we can't predict. Oh, Silverstone. Uh, I'll admit my VR races are just for fun. I'm not going to be a professional racer. But that made me cheer for a guy I never met, and that's the magic, I think. A digital game introduced me to the human story of grit and hope. Uh, Absolutely awesome. So, to anyone out there chasing your own podium, big or small, keep on driving, man. Setbacks are just a part of the race. 10th place today could be 3rd place tomorrow. One day you might find yourself standing proud, just like Nico Hülkenberg did. Until then, we'll be out here on the track, laps to go. So race on, no matter how many laps you think you have left to take. Thanks for watching TOMCAMTV. I'm Cam. Tom's back this week. Say la vie. We'll see you soon.